So I want to go over a few things when you're first starting out with your Harvest Right freeze dryer. And I'm going to cover some topics like how to do the settings on the machine, a little bit about oil changes, some of the other tools that I use, and vacuum sealing or not. So first of all, I have the medium Harvest Right freeze dryer, and they didn't have a large or extra large at the time. Probably would have got one of those, but I've been doing this for 5 years now, and it's worked out really well. So no complaints whatsoever. First of all, in the settings, what I do is hit the customize button, and you can see here initial freeze is 0, extra freeze time 0, dry temp 125. Those I think are the way they came. What I changed was the extra dry time. Now I added 12 hours onto that. The reason being that I like to start my batches in the morning, probably, I don't know, say 10 o'clock in the morning, roughly. And by the time my batches are coming to completion, it's around late afternoon. And with the extra 12 hours, I can come in and check it and see if it's drying, whereabouts that's at, and I can let it continue on and adjust the dry time up or down as needed. And what I do is every 6 hours I'll come in and I'll take the trays out, and I'll take the top tray and move it to the top to the bottom, and then likewise just cycle through them. So I'll spin them around and put them back in again as I go through the trays. And when you're doing a batch, the easiest way to do that without changing all the settings is just to go to your vacuum pump, turn the power off, go to your drain hose, open it up, so that'll release the vacuum. So that's kind of paused everything. And then take your trays, and like I mentioned, you've got your top tray, so I'll take it out, spin it around, and put it in the bottom, and then likewise move the other ones around through the circuit. So you'll just keep doing that every 6 hours, and that way it gives the product moves around in the chamber, and because there's different variations of temperature, and that seems to work really well. So that's what I do with doing that every 6 hours, and it gives you a chance to see how the freeze drying is going, how the batch is working out. So we're finished taking the trays out, putting them back inside, close the door and lock it, turn on the power back on the pump, and close the drain valve again. And that's good. The process will just continue on like you never did anything, uninterrupted. And I got the oilless because I thought, well, I don't want to have to deal with changing oil. Let's just keep it simple. It didn't work out so well. I think within the first year, within about a month of the warranty expiring, the pump quit. And I had a circuit board die on me and a couple other things I had to replace. So that was under warranty, which was great. So they sent me a new oilless pump again, and that lasted for almost 2 years. So I went through 2 of those, and the last oilless pump, it was getting really loud. Like it was super loud in here, and you could hear the thing working. Vacuum was not that great. It was not getting down as low as it used to, so it was definitely wearing out ahead of time. So I decided this time to get the Premier oil pump, and it's been a game changer. It's been fantastic. Really like it. It's quiet compared to the oilless pumps. It takes no time to change the oil. So what I do is when my batch is finished, the product is done, I'll come to the pump and I'll take off the demister, and I'll put that in this little container face down so any moisture will drip into the little tray. I'll tip this up, opening up the valve here and catching all the oil. And it doesn't take very long. Drain that stuff into the filter, close it up, and then right away I have 2 more batches of oil that are all done. And so I'll just kind of rotate through it. So that's my newest one here being filtered. I'll grab the next one, I'll fill it in right away with my little funnel. Get that in there, load it in. So that's in, so it's all ready for the next time. I'll leave that until I'm ready to start that next batch. So it can just sit there. This one can sit as well. And so this one is in the machine now. This one I move over. This one I'll put into this empty one and put it back here. So the reason I do that is you can see if there's any sediment happening. One is sitting longer than the other, like for sure. And this is clear as a bell. That's been since since November. So what, 4 months ago now? And it's just like brand new. So I change the oil every time. It takes me literally 2 minutes to do this. I've got a little system. I just drain it, put this one in, put that one there. And that's why I think the oil's perfect. Like, it's great. There's no sediment. There's nothing in there. And I know they say you don't have to do that. And I've really got a system that's going and it's working really well. So I'm just going to stick with this. Takes no time at all. So I'm super happy with that. That's worked out fantastically. Now, some of the other things that I use, I have for doing the moisture. I know a lot of people like to weigh their food, and I didn't have too much success with that. I found it was just more of a hassle taking the trays out back and forth. And so I have a moisture meter. This is the pad on the back, and you put it on something and it'll give you the percentage of moisture. So even in the wood, you can see there, 13%. Put on something else, 15. So what I'll do is when I'm doing the batch and it's getting close to completion, I'll take my tray out and I'll take some of the product and flip it upside down and I'll feel it, and it should be warm still. You don't want it to be cold when you package it. It should still be warm. I'll talk about that more than that in a minute. And so I'll put this on different spots of the trays and I'll check my moisture. And when I know it's 0 and I see no changes in the percentage of moisture, and with my touch, I know it's complete. So to back up a little bit, when I was first starting out, I just trusted the machine that it was doing everything perfectly. And when the thing said it was finished, and I would feel it. Sometimes it was kind of cold and felt dry, but I was still learning and didn't know as much as I do now. And so going back, what I have here is a vacuum sealer. So I'm going to jump a bit here. So I wasn't vacuum sealing initially, not until 6 months ago, I believe. So I've got this here, Vac 100. That's been a game changer. That's changed everything completely. To give you an idea, here's some raw eggs that I just did recently. And that's what that machine does. There is absolutely nothing in there but the egg. There's no air, nothing. It's fantastic. So I went through all of my freeze-dried product that were not vacuum sealed. I cut them all open, every single one of them. I'll show you in a minute how I organize it. And I was able to look at every piece of product. And I think over the last 5 years, I've lost probably about 8 bags of product. And that was at the beginning when I didn't understand. And the product was still cold. Wasn't 100% sure. I thought it was good and I packaged it. And those were the ones that they weren't smelly. They weren't rotten. They didn't, nothing looked bad about it, but you could feel the moisture in it. And so I chucked those ones out. I just thought, you know what? I've got lots of food. I'd rather know for sure that they're perfect. And so 7 or 8 of these I threw away. That's not bad out of 5 years. I think that's pretty good. But now I have no worries. I've got this thing figured out super well and keep it really simple. So, okay, back to another tool I have, a little scraper deal. And I've got a plastic one in the house, but basic idea, so you can just scrape your product out of the trays. And for items like blueberries, grapes, anything with a skin on it, you need to pierce that skin to let the moisture out. So I got this meat tenderizer. Make sure I don't get my finger. There you go. So there's the little teeth that come out of this thing. And so I just go around and work myself through the tray and just puncture the skin. It takes no time at all. And so when you freeze dry that stuff, it comes out perfectly because all the moisture is able to come out. So that's been really, really good. So that's another thing that I use. So those are the basic tools. Trying to think what else I do. With the drain valve, what you have to be careful of is that hose. A lot of people have a 5-gallon bucket on the floor. I've got this workbench I had when I was woodworking, so I've utilized that. And what I did is I cut this short, and if you can see under here, I've got this little tray. And down at the end, you can see the hose. It's kind of dark, but the hose is only sticking down a couple inches through there. So the hose only goes to about there inside. So I tuck that under, and every time I defrost the machine, I just dump the water out so I don't have any worries of water getting sucked back up through that hose into the machine, which is what will happen if you don't catch that. Another thing I have is a little wedge. So I just wedge that up so the machine just comes up a little bit on the front, tips to the back, and then the drain hole at the back helps it just all to drain back out the hose, and just take that out when I'm finished. You can buy little pads that go in there with a little puff up thing, so you can do that as well. And I'll put a link in there about that guy. And what else? Extra bags, lots of extra bags. Oxygen absorbers. I've got one of the Costco food saver deals, vacuum sealer. So what I'll do is I'll cut this open, take my stuff and put it into the Mylar bags, and then put it in the little machine there and suck the air out of it and seal it, and it's all vacuum sealed for the next time I'm ready to do another batch. So that's worked out well. And of course the harvest rate one died a couple of years ago, so I've got another company, Linsfeld, and it's been really good. Very happy with that one. Don't use it as much anymore because this one has the sealing bar along here, along the top, and it seals at the same time. So it'll vacuum seal and seal the bag. And I'm going to do a separate review on this because I can't say enough about this machine compared to a lot of other ones, and I'll go into that. There's a number of reasons. One is maintenance. This one, undo a few screws and the whole lid, the whole body lifts up and you can get at everything. A lot of the other ones you got to take the whole outside apart to do it. Painful. So this is fantastic. And yeah, organizing. I was talking about that a minute ago. So I've got all these huge bins, and they're all labeled: meat, vegetables, fruit. What else? MREs. Meals ready to eat, seafood. You get the idea. Lots of bins. Veggies, meat. And so this is a shipping container, 20 foot by 9.5 foot high. And I turned this into freeze drying and food storage. And what we'll do is when we get deals at Costco and stuff like that, is we'll buy extra, and then I'll just start freeze drying it. So we've done this for our family and our friends, and so it's kind of a catch-all for all the people we care about. And so that's why this looks like it does. It's all kind of organized in different condiments and different sections. Yeah, so that's the basics of that. And not too worried about, I can write, I will, meat 1, meat 2, meat 3, whatever, and go to the first one and go through it. And also have underneath each one, I've got the written label about what's in there exactly. And with a 25-year shelf life or so, I'm not too worried about things sitting in there top or bottom, you know what I mean. It's not a deal breaker. Oh, another thing I did for getting stuff off the trays, I made my own little guy here. So for scooping it scooping it in. There you go. And dump it right into the deal. Bag tucks in the bottom. you can buy them online. I made this thing up. I bought a funnel at Canadian Tire and cut the bottom off and got a tomato cage. Makes me laugh. I curse it because the legs bend sometimes and it goes all wonky. but it's working, and that's all that matters. You have to have fun. So yeah, hopefully that'll give you an idea on some of the beginning things to do, how to get this set up for your drying time. Not packaging anything before it's ready to be put in the Mylar bags. So if you have any questions, just let me know. We'll talk again soon. Bye now.